So my name is Ian Pelham-Turner. I'm really a journalist of 55 years now. The last 12 years I've been an international broadcaster. So my specialist fields are really the royal family when it comes to broadcasting, but I also create a project called Celebrate Great Britain. So I'd been sent to photograph Princess Margaret and Lord Snowdon at the opening of a new bridge that went over the River Medway in Kent, where I lived. By the time I arrived there, I thought, well, no one's going to be there, and there were thousands of people there, right next to the bridge, and where they were going to meet the Lord Mayor of Rochester was this high wall, and so I had a high position actually to show what exactly was going on. And I took this photograph of the crowd, the Lord Mayor meeting Princess Margaret and Snowdon with the bridge in the background. The photograph went onto the front page of my local newspaper, and that was my first ever front page picture. And it was used the full length and the full height and width of the page itself. And then the reality was that the Lord Mayor loved this so much. He had an oil painting, a 12-foot high oil painting made from the photograph that still hangs in the Guildhall in Rochester. I was quite a shy person as well. So the reality was that the camera was my shield. I could walk into any room, there could be 600 people, and because I was having a camera and I represented a local paper as well, I was somebody. And so I had a sort of a value to that community. In those days, there was a royal train, and the royal train used to take them all to Ascot, but it all had to be timed immaculately as well. If you're 30 seconds late with the royal family, it throws out the routine for the rest of the day. So it's an absolute no-no. The royal family knew what they were doing. I hopefully knew what I was doing as well. There was a red carpet, the car stopped, royal family, one after another, are walking up the red carpet. They stop for a second, I take their photograph, they go on the train. The Queen Mother was the last royal member to get on the train, and so she walked up, she stopped, and the flash didn't fire. It was very, very dark underneath Waterloo Station. And so click again, nothing happens. So now she walks off the red carpet, and the station master is wondering what on earth is happening because he's behind her. And now she's starting to ask him questions about platform 13 of Waterloo Station. And the Queen Mother and the Queen is actually knocking on the window saying, get on the train because we're going to be late, for Ascot at the same time. And all the time she was watching me to see whether I could get the camera to work. She was a great person to work with. And then that particular day, there was a hole in the roof of Waterloo Station, and all of a sudden this burst of sunlight hit the red carpet just big enough. So she stepped into that pool of light. I took her photograph. She winked at me and got on the train. So I'm the only photographer, as far as I know, who ever stopped the royal train. The rule in Fleet Street in those days was that if you don't get the photographs, you don't go back. So when I first came to London, I was just newly married, and basically I was offered a job on a newspaper in West London, but I wanted to get into Fleet Street as well. So I used to do what was as a 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. shift on the Evening Standard, 3 or 4 days a week. Then I would do 2:30 to 10:30 on my paper in West London on that shift. And then I would do an 11 o'clock to 2 o'clock in the morning at Playboy. And I did that for 6 months and collapsed. I'm a working class boy. Nobody gave me a silver spoon to sort of zoom all the way up into Fleet Street or whatever I wanted to do. It was all very, very hard work. It was the devotion and the determination necessary to actually get the goals that I wanted to get to. I got my first staff job, when I was about 26, 27, and the average age of actually getting onto the staff of a Fleet Street newspaper would normally be in their 50s. So you really had to work very, very hard, and you had to be consistent with the style of work that you did at the same time. When I first started in photography, the cameras that you see in the old gangster movies, the 5.4 press cameras that they had, with the big, the flash gun, that's what we trained on. They weighed a ton, and I used to go around on the bus to my assignment. As I say, there wasn't an ounce of fat on me at all. Then it came to this, and this is when I first put on weight. So this is a twin lens reflex Rolleiflex. This was the staple camera at my time to actually do all the assignments with. When you were working with or something like this, this is the viewing lens, that's the taking lens. They didn't use light meters on this. And so, after a while, I could sort of look at a room like this. It was normally 400 ASA in those days for the film. And so you've got 12 frames on a roll of paper with a camera like this. But these were great cameras because, again, you learnt your craft. The way you could be sort of taking pictures at times. You learnt how to actually create it, put an image together as well. And so, I used to love these cameras. A, they were lighter to start off with, so I didn't have all this weight carrying around behind me. But at the same time, it gave you a feeling that now I've become a photographer. Before I just felt like some lackey, running around with these huge cameras around me. And I had to learn how to use them in order to know how to work with a camera like this. But this is a great camera. And I haven't got my glasses on, but I think this is a 3.5F. You can make lots of mistakes on digital and it can be changed. With this, you had to be extremely accurate. But I think I actually took the photographs of Margaret and Snowdon on this type of camera. Love what you do. Love what you do. Because it is the most awesome career that you're now walking in towards that you could ever possibly imagine. You'll see things, you'll do things, you'll experience things that no other profession will ever give to you in the same way. It can be exciting, it can be inviting, it can be terrifying. There are all different examples of it. When I first came to London and I worked in Fleet Street, I was a hard news photographer. So I used to cover the riots and anything that similar to that type of thing. And I loved it. But my problem was that I loved it so much. The only thing I had of fear in those days was not getting the photograph. So, if there was a riot, I'd be right in the middle of the riot. One day I stood in front of this horse charge. So I saw these horses lining up the street, and I thought they're going to charge it anyway. So I got the wide-angle lens on. I thought this can make a great photograph, So I stood in the middle of the road, and they came charging down towards me. And I thought, as I was taking the photographs, and it was a really powerful photograph. And I thought, if I move left or right, I'm dead. So I hoped that they were good enough horsemen to swerve past me, so that I could get my shot. And then the next day, one of the chief commissioners rang up the editor of the paper and saying, for God's sake, stop him doing what he's doing, because he'll get killed. Probably one of my most famous sets of photographs was when I was asked to do the Christmas photographs of Prince William. He was, 3 months old then. And this was the first official set of Christmas photographs of Prince William. Charles, Diana and William. It had to be done in colour and black and white in 7 minutes. Diana had thought it was a great idea to carry William's teething ring because that would keep him looking up whilst I was trying to take the photographs. And what Diana hadn't recognised was that she was hiding her face. And I thought, there's only one thing I can do. I can't talk to them. I'm not allowed to talk about it anyway. So I made a noise like I was dying. And Diana turned round to me and she realised instantly what she was doing. So she pulled the teething ring from her face so we could see her face. William went to grab it and I got this incredible picture. Pure luck yet again. I sit in TV studios right now and I'm working with the different broadcasters. And I'm sat there thinking, why do they want me? I'm just a normal person. I've been extremely lucky, with the things that I do. And I suppose I was able to push a button, so I became a photographer. And my mother always said, you've got a good Scottish tongue in your head as well, and always use it. So then I became a broadcaster. I've been very, very lucky with everything that I've done in my life. I've had such an incredible career, the people I've worked with, the values that I've worked with. I mean, nowadays my focus is broadcasting, it's television, and that's what I enjoy these days. And I'd really done everything I ever wanted to do with, photography itself. But I still admire all the great photographers of today as well. It comes back to devotion. And the reality with devotion is, if you love what you do, if you value what you do, if you value that the message that you are putting out is the most important message in this world, that's devotion.